Well, the crankshaft seal in the nose of this C65 is still obviously leaking. It's a nuisance, it makes a mess, but it's really not a safety of flight issue.
Been seeing lots of these turkey vultures out soaring. Not exactly my favorite bird. They killed a good friend of mine first week of pilot training Air Force. David A. Wiles. He was an instructor pilot. One of them birds came through the front cockpit of his T-38 doing 450 knots, killed him instantly.
We have definitely arrived in the land of hog farms and chicken farms. That one to me looked like a hog farm. Flying by water towers doesn't help when they don't have the town's name on them and they just have the water district's initials. I've passed 2 of those towers. Thanks a lot. It was nice crossing into Arkansas and starting to get into some farm country. I wasn't quite sure what all the fields were, but I was sure searching and looking and trying to figure them all out. Here was my first rice fields that I came to down here in the southeast. And here we had soybeans, a little bit different than the boys up in Minnesota raising them. Be very, very quiet. We duck hunt. Well, here's the White River that I pointed out on the sectional. So we hit it. Now we just got to look laterally, figure out a unique identifying feature of some of its bends to know exactly where we are. And this was the first of the cypress swamps that I've come across. Cool to see these trees. There were a bunch of private airports owned by crop dusters, aerial applicators out in this part of the country, and I flew down a few of the runways, flew over some. Here it looks like the boys are picking, looks like soybeans again, thrashing them. Here's our first cotton field in the southeast, and here's actually a windmill farm that is on the sectional. All right, we know exactly where we are. There was an interesting agricultural processing plant. I wasn't positive what it was. In some ways it looked like a cotton gin, in some ways it didn't. This pile of, I think it's husk here on the back, and then very small round bales of what looks like cotton to me, but I'm still not 100% positive that's what this is. Some of our finest citizens of Arkansas apparently live in this facility. Look, there was a couple of them, probably a men's and a women's. I offset this ag strip to make sure that, hey, in case they were working, it wasn't in their way, creating a safety hazard or interfering. Checked it out. As common, there'll be pavement on the part that you're heavy on to start the takeoff roll, and usually there's a big gravel overrun at the end for when they're heavily loaded and need a little extra space. One way in, one way out. 50 landings a day. Those boys and girls earn their money, keeping your food supply safe. I love landing at airports I haven't been at before, and I don't remember what this was, a little public strip up here in Arkansas, and I decided to roll the wheels on the pavement, and as I got closer I could tell the grass to the side of it was smooth and safe, so we rolled the wheels on the grass. Quick little touch and go. Here's another plant just short of West Helena. I wasn't sure what this was, but I did confirm this is a peanut processing plant. First time I've ever seen one of these. I don't know what caused this little patch of trees to be colored like this, like the fall, whether it was a mineral deficiency, a water issue, but it sure was pretty. And here we are, arriving over the top of West Helena Airport, Arkansas. I circled up high to make sure, check out the layout, check out the winds, make sure there weren't any egg guys operating, figure out just where I probably was going to fuel and park, and what runway made the most sense. Quick left downwind, and we'll have her on the ground. Another day about to be done. All right, everybody, we are in West Helena, Arkansas, which is right on the border. Memphis is, probably 20, 30 miles that way. We're at South Delta Aviation, and like most places down here, the FBO is really just a spray operation, though they actually have a nice FBO lounge in there. Already got the courtesy car. They called, they found me a bed and breakfast in an old antebellum mansion that got saved, so I'm looking forward to that. Check out this cool hangar. Got the Baron, the Firebomber 502. They said just came back from Chile on a contract. Of course, 2 working airplanes here. An old Egg Cat. Looks like she hasn't worked in a while, but pretty neat old metal structure. The winds kind of died down decently. They were down to 5 to 10 at the most the last couple hours. Interesting seeing this country. Found out I was seeing soybeans, which I could recognize, cotton, of course rice. There was one crop that I just couldn't figure out what it was. They were hauling it in to, it looked like a gin almost, but it wasn't a gin. And in semis, and then the semis were getting plugged into a big fan. And talking to these guys, that's peanuts. I was like, well, that makes sense. So harvest is definitely going on down here, so cool to see some different things. We're going to clean up the airplane here now, get it all prepped and ready for tomorrow, and then tomorrow should be even a shorter day than today. We should have less wind and a little shorter distance, so hoping to be to Crestview by about 1:30. That would be great. All right. Hope everybody's enjoyed coming along on this trip. It has been an absolute blast flying this airplane and bringing everybody along. Appreciate it. Well, airplane's been flying good, but it's obviously spitting a ton of oil. So in the evenings I try to wipe it down. I've kind of just started this video late, but I mean, we got oil on the top of the stab. The bottom's actually not too bad. Oil on the leading edge, so paper towels and a little lab gas cleans that up pretty quick and easy. Don't want it sitting there on it. That obviously will get addressed as soon as we get to Florida. It's not a safety of flight thing, it's just a nuisance, kind of like flying a radial engine. Show you up on the leading edges. I've already done the cowl, but there's along the leading edge. And that's been wiped down already today.
All right, airplane is fueled. They've stuck it in the hangar. I got the courtesy car. Now, I might go grab a cold one and then go find the bed and breakfast. What a nice group. Southeast Ag Hospitality doesn't get better. Here's a couple of the airport dogs. Yeah.
I found these old local homes on my way through town. Sad thing is, it probably wasn't that long ago people were still living in these, and that one had a satellite dish on it.
Well, every courtesy car has got its special, right? This one's got Christmas lights in the back. No, we're not putting them up yet. Well, I found a restaurant in town, and I'm not kidding when I say I found a restaurant. So, I bet it's the best one. Let's go get some food. Really? Coming into my seating area. Of course, all antique furniture, or woodwork. So I don't think some of the chairs are, but this old fireplace. Beautiful door on it. All right, so the foyer just outside my room. Different rooms to each side. I'm in the General Adams room. Old sewing room table. This is probably that dumbwaiter. You weren't going to sneak up these stairs and not be heard. Snicker table. Bathroom. Rowing machine if you want to get some exercise. Darts. Cool painting here. Big mirror, and I'm not sure what that's for, but wow. That's incredible. The General Daniel Govan room. The woodwork's incredible. each of those spoons. Photo taken 1902 or 1903. It's not hot out here, but it's not cold. I wouldn't want a sweet tea right now, but it definitely is a neat old deck. Wraps all the way around to the side. Columns and woodwork. The whole place was restored in 1984.
Well, and if everything goes according to plan, here's tomorrow, the last day's flight plan.